Welcome back. This podcast explores the wisdom of generosity from ancient to modern and the beautiful space where generosity occurs during small town capital campaigns. If you like this podcast, please rate and review it in your favorite podcast app. Continuing with the theme of economic or societal uncertainty during a capital campaign in a small town, I've been reflecting on the role of an executive director or a CEO. While the trust of the board and the capital campaign chair matters, it's the executive director that matters the most in terms of the success of the capital campaign. The Roman Stoic Seneca reflected on the role of leadership and vision for the community. This week, I'm reading from Seneca's Letter 71, published in 65 AD. Quote, "Whenever you want to know what is to be avoided or to be sought, look to the highest good, the purpose for your entire life. For whatever we do, we ought to agree with that. Only someone who has before him a general purpose for his whole life will put individual things in order. No matter how ready one's paints might be, no one will produce a likeness unless he or she has a clear notion of what he or she wants to paint. He who wants to shoot an arrow ought to know what he is aiming at, and then direct and guide the weapon in his hand. Our counsels go astray because they do not have a target to be aimed at. If you don't know what harbor you sail for, no wind is favorable. Because we live by chance, chance necessarily has great power over our lives. The wise person indeed conquers fortune with his or her virtue. But many who claim to have wisdom have often been terrified by the most trivial threats. Here the fault is our own. Since we demand the same thing of a wise person and of a progressor, I am still urging on myself the things which I praise, but I don't yet convince myself about them. Even if I had convinced myself, I would not have things in readiness or so thoroughly practiced that they could successfully confront all chanced events. Just as wool accepts some colors on one dipping but cannot absorb others, unless it has been repeatedly steeped and boiled, so too our temperament immediately shows the results of some studies as soon as it has been exposed to them. But this one shows none of the results it promises unless it penetrates deeply and settles for a long time, unless it doesn't just color the mind, but dyes it." Unquote. When an executive director is trusted in the community is more open to hearing the vision. Then the vision must be communicated clearly, consistently, and with courage. The community has to know which harbor the nonprofit is directing the community to fund under the leadership of that executive director. Otherwise, trivial circumstances and chance events will blow the capital campaign off course. However, when there is a trust and a clear vision from the leader, the vision becomes steeped into the community and the community embraces the vision and generosity towards that vision despite uncertainty. Let's reflect on these two questions. How trusted is the executive director or CEO among your donors and the community? Is the vision for the capital campaign being communicated clearly, consistently, and with courage amidst all of the uncertainties? Share this podcast if you enjoy these 5-minute reflections and subscribe to receive these reflections released every Monday. To explore capital campaign coaching deeper, visit servingnonprofits.com. See you next week.